Okay, we are officially live. All right, we got settled in here because I know it takes a few seconds for people to actually get notified that we're live. And this tends to be a little bit harder because I know you. And we'll talk about podcasting and all that good stuff in a little bit. But welcome you guys to our live. And I've been doing these lives from our Mom Academy, but also streaming it on my Facebook page. So welcome to my Mom Academy people. We're here today talking to an incredible guest speaker, Aury, who's going to get to share a little bit of her story as a mom, entrepreneur, wife, a Latina, Hispanic, change maker. And we have this incredible opportunity to talk about, resiliency through adversity. And what great opportunity to do that during Hispanic Heritage Month, because we got to talk about our culture today. I think we're gonna dig a little deeper into our culture today. I think that's where our conversation is gonna be leaning towards. But before we do that, let's jump in. I want Aury to go ahead and share a little bit who you are and what you do and all that good stuff.
Thank you, Natalie, for having me. That is a complicated question, and it's getting even more complicated as time, But my name is Aury. I am a mental health counselor, a licensed mental health counselor. I'm a wife. I'm a mom of three boys. What else? My friend and I are starting our new business, a mental health clinic. That friend and I also host a podcast called Living as Latinas. What else? That's it, I think.
Awesome. Okay. We're gonna dig a little bit deeper on those each pieces of incredible things that you're doing. Because obviously you didn't start your journey as an entrepreneur, as opening up your clinic and doing all the incredible things that you're doing. But before we jump into that, because one of the things that the different moms that I bring onto the show, and even a dad I brought in last time, I like to jump into our roles and how can we navigate and juggle our role as mothers, wives, but also our desires for our career and passions. So I wanted to ask you, like, as a mom yourself, how did you transition from being an employee minded, right, to seeking entrepreneurship and opening up your own practice while juggling your prior career and home life? I know it's a loaded question, but
a lot of questions. So yeah. I think that that was a whole process, but it all started with me finding out who I am as a person, as an individual. So my husband and I struggled with fertility. We had to go through a lot of fertility treatments in order to have our first child, right? And once I was a mom, I think that now I think back and I am sure that was like a trauma response, because to me, it was like, that's it. I am a mother finally. And so everything else, I don't care. It could just go. I'm a wife. Well, no, I'm a mother first. I'm not a daughter the way I used to be, because now I'm a mother. I am not a mental health counselor the way I used to be, because now I'm a mother. And I found myself like digging a hole almost, right? Thinking I was, having this identity as a mother, but leaving aside everything else. And I thought at that time that was the right way to go about it. But that was totally a trauma response. Because I thought deep inside, if I don't do it this way, then that means I am not grateful for what God just did with me, right?
Wow.
So if I take that role as a mother and I put it for a second in a second place, that's me not being grateful.
I lost you, Aury. Hold on. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
The screen froze. Hold on. There you are. I was like, the screen froze. Go ahead.
So I was saying that to me at that time, I feel like I was being ungrateful if I would even think about anything else other than being a mom, which right now is crazy to me. It doesn't make sense anymore. But at that time, that was, that was how I handled life, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so how are you able to kind of find yourself again? You worked so hard to become a mom, going through all the fertility treatments. Now you have this gift, but you're starting to realize, like, wait a minute, I'm still my own person. How do I take the shell off? Like, how do I, unleash this? Because obviously, I'm sure there was something internally happening at the time.
Definitely. And that is actually a really really cool story, because I don't take full responsibility for it. I am sure I was getting help from other places, right? So it started when last year, when the pandemic started, we found ourselves having a lot of time, right? Because we were frozen, the whole world, for like 2 weeks, not knowing what's going to happen tomorrow. And I have always journaled. That stopped when I became a mom, because I convinced myself I didn't have time anymore to do that, right? So for some reason, I went to the basement and I was looking through my old journals. And I was having so much fun reading and thinking, oh my God, I can't believe I wrote that, and laughing. But one of the entries, I was talking about how I was going to change the world, and I'm here to change the world. And it brought tears to my eyes, because I was like, oh, I used to be so cool, like wanting to change the world and all of these things. And what am I doing now? Like, how am I doing that? I'm not doing it anymore. And now I feel like I want to cry, because I at that moment I felt like I lost time in doing what I thought I came here to do.
Wow.
And by doing that and talking to my husband about it, and him remembering, yeah, when I met you, I thought you were kind of crazy, because you would talk about all these things that you were gonna do and all these things. And it brought back all that energy that I used to have, like back when I was a teenager. And I just made a decision. I was like, okay, I was given the gift to be a mother, because I am here to change the world. Like, one thing is not against the other. I can do both.
They're not separate, right?
That's when I realized that they were never separate. I was given this opportunity because this experience as a mother was gonna give me things that I didn't have in order for me to change the world. And it was like, oh my God, it was like a door opened in heaven for me. And I started looking at everything totally different.
Wow. What month of that? Do you remember what month that was last year?
Oh, yes, April.
Okay. So from that moment of like your aha moment, right? It was like the light bulb started going off, and you got that, like, oh my gosh, I can still be me. I can still, change the world like you had envisioned. From between that point and the next point, how long was it between you started to realize, like, I want to do more and I want to take action on that?
Oh my God, everything happened so quickly. I don't remember what month it was, but I remember I was doing meditation, and I sent Jakira a message, and I said, are you as crazy as I am? And Jakira, she's probably thinking, oh my God, I am not sure what like how I want to respond to this crazy lady. Yeah. And I said, let's do a podcast and let's start changing the world. This is what we're gonna do. And she was like, that's exactly what I wanted to do. And I'm like, there you go. Let's do it.
Wow.
So we started doing that. And then with the private practice, it was the same. It was just, we were just having a conversation, and at the same time, something clicked, and we were like, oh, private practice, that's it. And she's like, yeah.
Wow.
So to me, it was all conspiring to get to the point where we were ready as an individual to make the choices that, because for example, me, I resigned my 8.5 years, right, position. And I thought that was going to be difficult. And Natalie,
it was time.
It was like a gift.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, and just one more month, and that's it. And everybody freaking out, especially my father. And what are you gonna do? And is this responsible to do with 3 kids, and you don't even have another job? And I was just chilling for the first time in my life.
Oh snap! That's awesome.
Yeah. I didn't even recognize myself. I was like, oh my God, am I going crazy?
Wow. So you launched the podcast when? After April last year?
Oh, it was August, I think.
Okay.
Because the first episode, we were actually talking about kids going back to school.
Okay. Okay.
So it must have been around there, September.
Yeah. Okay. And then when did you make that decision that you're like, I'm gonna leave, and I'm gonna leave my job, I'm gonna leave my career?
So that thought came to me in October of 2020.
Oh wow.
And it was just a thought, but I noticed that it brought so much happiness, which was really the opposite of what I thought it should bring, right? Because I'm talking about living at my job, the only one I have.
Right. Right.
And I mentioned it to my husband, and he looked at me and he smiled, and he was like, I knew it. I knew you were gonna do that. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, I see you. You don't fit in there anymore. And that's exactly the description that I can give you. Is I felt like I was inside of a box that was getting too small for me. And so I felt suffocated.
Right. Right. Yep. I know that exact feeling. That's exactly how I felt in my very cushy, high-paying job as a nurse. I'm like, why am I getting this feeling? Like, why do I want to leave this safe place? But every single time I went into work, I felt like the black sheep. Like, I was like, why do I feel like out of place? Like, why am I not comfortable with just the normal routine of just showing up to work and doing the same thing over and over and over again? Like, why do I feel this way? And I thought at first, I was like, something's wrong with me. Like, maybe am I trying to be lazy and not go to work?
Exactly.
I was like, no, I want something bigger. I want to do more. Like, and the people that I'm with around me right now at work don't think that way. They're very much comfortable working till retirement and, complaining about the same stuff every single day, no changes, and talking about each other behind their backs, gossiping, have that whole world of, that's the negative work environments. They were all comfortable with that. And for me, I was like, yeah, that's not for me. I want to make an impact, and I want to do it in a positive way, and I want to be a change maker. and I can't do that here because there's just too much politics
Mm-hmm.
and just like you said, it's a box. It's a perfect little box that people are placed in.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously you got that idea in October, and then fast forward, you officially left your job when?
February 1st.
Wow.
I was gone forever. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it's like a transition, but yes, yeah.
Yes,
Wow.
February 1st. And that was like the start of a whole new world for me. And backing up a little bit with what you were saying about, the whole politics, so throughout my life, I always had to censor myself in different ways because I have a strong opinions, okay, about everything. It's like I know what I know, and I don't know what to tell you, right? But I learned, especially throughout high school, to censor myself because I could feel um, the difference in what people wanted to talk about. For example, in my family, the number one topic has always been extraterrestrial life, and how does that is that even true, and this video and that video. So my family is unconventional in that way, and that's why I fit in really well because I am like that. I like talking about what do you think happened when this and that, and History Channel and the Discovery Channel. So throughout my teenage years, when people were going out drinking and dancing and doing all this fun and crazy things that teenagers do, I was home watching novelas and watching, the Discovery Channel. And I remember that back then, family friends would tell my dad, "Are you sure she's okay? Because she seems like she's depressed. She just wants to be here." And to me, it was like my dream life is in my room, nobody bothering me, no phone calls except my husband, but my boyfriend at the time. That would be my perfect life. So me being that way, I learned very quickly that some of my opinions were not going to be accepted in the way that I thought. Wow. Because going out in the world wasn't the same as being inside of my house with my family. And so when I did that, when I started censoring myself, I also started losing myself. And I just found that out last year, right? But that's exactly what happened. So it came to a point where I didn't even know what I believed in. I didn't even know what I thought about anything anymore. Because I also wasn't exercising that in the journaling, in the writing, in the talking to people about what do you think? And that's why I got into this field. I was in 8th grade when I decided that I wanted to be, I thought it was a psychologist back then because in Spanish, right? And my idea was I'm going to be able to control people's brains. That's what I wanted to do. That's it. Right? And the reason why I wanted to do that was because I genuinely thought that people's brains were damaged because they couldn't see what I saw or they couldn't understand what I understood. So in my 40-year-old brain, that sounded like a really good idea.
And then you found an outlet for that idea through mental health.
Exactly.
Which is amazing because that's essentially mental health is really helping people to really work out their brain, their minds, and think differently, and really break the chains. So that's incredible that you do that. So tell me, what do you find was the most difficult aspect of you transitioning out of that box into seeking to open up your own practice? Like, what did you find the most difficult? I mean, because hello, you're a mom of 3 kids here. You know, you got bills, you got things you got to manage, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure there was a lot of people were like, "What are you doing?" But so tell me, what was the most difficult piece for you transitioning out of that?
I really think that the most difficult part was just to stay on the path.
Mm-hmm.
Like listening to what people, their worries, their concerns, and still saying, yeah, I know what you're saying, but no, that's not what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't do that for so long, so many years, that I wasn't trained anymore how to do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And but in order for me to get to that point, I did a lot of work on myself,
Right.
a lot of, you know, shadow work, a lot of asking myself, are you sure that that you want to grow old? And ask yourself what you did all those years,
Mm-hmm.
and be ashamed with yourself looking in the mirror because you didn't do what you always knew you were going to do, because
Mm-hmm.
somebody said it wasn't a good idea, or because somebody didn't think it was, possible, because
Right.
it's too big of a dream, and you cannot do it, and is that what you want to do? And the answer was always, hell no, that's not what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to remind myself over and over and over every day that this is what I'm gonna do. And so it got better actually when I reframed it. So when that happened, it got better,
Mm-hmm.
like right away. So what I thought was, it's not me against other people that think differently. It's actually me doing it first. So those people can see that it can be done. So it's actually me serving humanity in the same way that I always thought I would. There
Wow.
you go. It changed everything.
Perspective. It's about perspective. I love that you said that, because I think, like you said, most often we get stuck with the idea that I have this vision for my life. What are other people going to think about that?
Uh-huh.
And we focus on that, and then we start to ask other people what they think, um, and we lose our gut feeling of in the first place why we wanted to do that, what we wanted to do, right? So, but let's back up, because you said something important. You said that you had to do work to overcome that barrier, right? And a lot of times people think that, well, I have the vision, I have the goal, well, let me go just do it. But
Yeah.
then obstacles are guaranteed in any path we take. If there will be obstacles, what often happens is, like you said, that most people will then they like take the steps and then end up taking like 10 steps back because of the people around them, and they don't have the support they need, the right support, right? Because they're seeking the support from the people that don't believe in them. They're seeking the support from people that don't see their vision, and who cares, because you don't need people to see your vision. The vision is yours, it's no one else's, right? So I know we connected back in April, and we started to work together. And tell me, how did that help you to finally make this vision come to life? Because
So
it's so important to have that help, like you said, that mentorship.
yes, that was actually huge to my progress, because I had, before you, that was like the first experience that I had where I was on the other side. I've always been the person listening to, helping, figuring things out for other people, but I never had that for myself.
Mm.
And I seriously, honestly, never thought about that for me.
Mm.
That was not part of my reality in any way. And I remember when we interviewed you for the podcast, you said you were talking about, the importance of knowing the why. And after that interview, I started thinking about, do I know my why in life? Do
Mm.
I? And I knew them, but I forgotten them because I was into, surviving mode.
Mm.
And when you're in surviving mode, there's no time for dreams. There's no time for goals in the way that the goals should be looked at. There's no time for anything else other than surviving today and doing it again tomorrow.
Right.
So when I realized that, I was like, oh my God, how is it that I'm doing this for people and I don't do it for myself? Or I don't find the help that I need to be able to do that.
Right.
So what would that make me, right? Telling people that that's what they should do
Yeah.
while I never do it for myself.
Yes.
That was another aha moment because to me, it's like, that is not the person that I am. And so I got to start acting like the person that I am in real life. And that's not it. So that's where you came in the question. And it was really amazing, Natalie. I was learning through the coaching with you. I was learning about myself, but I was also having someone to back me up, right? And that is difficult. It doesn't sound like it is, but it is.
Yes.
Because most people in your life don't do that, not because they don't love you enough. It's because they don't trust that your dream is possible enough, right?
Yes. Yep.
And that's detrimental. If you don't have that, then the goal is never gonna come alive.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna second guess yourself every minute. Because somebody's gonna be on the back, on the side, asking you, "Are you sure? Are you sure? How are you gonna do that?
Mm-hmm.
Where is the money to do that?" Listen, the money's made, okay? There's 100,000 banks. It's made.
It's there.
Don't ask me where the money is. It's made. All I gotta do is find it. Um, no, but being serious, I never had that. So when we started working together, I really didn't know where it was gonna go because it was the first experience with something like that, right? But towards the end, I was amazed. I was so proud of myself. I'm telling my husband, I'm like, listen, Steven, you gotta get a gift for me. This is like real graduation in my life. Because I am a totally different person of who I used to be. But the most important thing is that that person is never coming back.
Yeah.
She's dead. She's gone.
Yes. Is the confidence. Like it's a whole other level. And I think one of the things I remember in the beginning for you that I think we spent a few sessions in the beginning talking about that specifically on I can't get these voices out of my head that keep me doubting. Like, and so I think a lot of people don't appreciate or don't realize the importance that when we have a vision, goals, bigger dreams, that the first obstacle is ourselves.
Yes.
Our first obstacle is overcoming our mind and our lack of belief and our own confidence. And so I know from experience, because like you said, you can't really help people if you haven't done the thing, right? So I've done the thing. I've done the multiple. I've been the person on the other seat, like listening and crying, sharing my dreams, struggling through it. That one of the biggest things that helped me to get through it was working on myself first. And then the clarity came in, and then the step by steps. And I mean, I've said it before, but like for you to have gone, from the idea to the opening date of your practice in 4 months is, unheard of. Like, I mean, I know there's examples of that, but like that was, and it wasn't 4 months technically, because you've had this vision for a long time. Mm-hmm. So technically it's been years, but in 4 months you were able to finally put it together and say, okay, now I know the steps, let's go, let's do it. And that's how important it is to have, like you said, the support, and the push, somebody to push you and to keep you accountable.
Yes, that's a big one.
Without the accountability, then you're not going to show up. You're not going to do the work. You're going to find excuses, right? But you didn't do that, right? Because there's people too that I've had that are clients that had the dreams and goals and the accountability, but they still didn't show up for themselves. And that was because there was other obstacles and barriers that were still holding them back.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's not a like fix all solution, but it is a step moving towards the direction. So I wanted to ask you though, like, because I know I want you to be able to share a little bit about your practice, and what you felt you were not giving, or your previous job was not giving to clients, that you felt like, okay, I don't like this. I want to change this because the resources that this company or this corporation is giving is not really what our people need. Because I think that was the thing that really drew me to you. Because I was like, damn, that like I want to help you to bring this to life, because you're right. This is a problem. So talk to me about what was the problem you were seeing in your job, your everyday mental health. What was the capacity that you had, and what was the problem, and how were you going to solve that?
So many different things, but the main thing is, when you are working with a group of people, it doesn't really matter where you come from. It's about them. So you can't treat my grandmother as you would treat an Italian grandmother, even when they share the same diagnosis. It's depression, but it's not the same depression. It's her depression. So the way I see it, depression is just, the thing we're going to say, but every person's depression is different, and it belongs to them. And it's not only theirs, it's their ancestors, it's their country that they came from. It's what their mom had to do to raise them. It's how they got to this country from their country. It's how they had to raise then their children in a different country. It's like a combination of so many things that it can't be treated the same for everybody.
Interesting. Yeah.
And that is a really personal belief, right? Many people won't share that belief with me. But in the years working with people, I've seen it time and time again. And to me, my clients were never a diagnosis. My client, all of them were always individuals coming to me with a whole bunch of things that were not only their diagnosis. So when you're doing that work, it's not necessarily to, I did my note and I filled the insurance and moving on to the next person. To me, I'm dealing with a human. And not only that, but I always had this thing that I am going to change the world one person at a time. So every person to me, I see as an opportunity to do just that. So when I was working in a place where those beliefs are not shared, it really, that is how I got to that box. And I felt like every day I had to defend what should be normal to think and should be the way to do it. And I was really tired of defending.
Well, give us an example, because you gave me an example when we were working together that I found like tangible. I was like, oh, I get it now. I know what you mean, because you talked about a mom, right, and the way she disciplined her child.
Oh my God, yes, yes.
right?
That would forever be my
And that
example.
story still has stuck with me, and I can relate because it's a culture thing. And you saw like how the company that you worked for, their approach is totally different. It's about medication, it's about pushing just one way to fix this problem. But you saw, we're like, no, this is a culture problem,
Yeah.
and this is about education.
Yes.
So talk about what that experience you had, and why you feel like and when then we'll transition to your practice and what your vision for your practice is.
So this family, they are from the Dominican Republic. I used to see them for family therapy, in-home therapy in their home. And, the kid was leaving the house in the middle of the night. We tried taking the key away. We tried different things. And mom she was done.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't know what else to do. And he was answering back, and she came from the room with a belt, and she was like, she hit him. It wasn't like a big deal, but she hit him with the belt. And to me, I was like, oh my God, she really thinks she can do this in front of me, right? So we're in a whole different country with a whole different way of doing things. And so regularly, that would be we're going to call DCF type of situation.
Yeah.
To me, at that moment, it wasn't about DCF. It was more about, I was shocked that she thought it was okay to do that in front of me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I saw it as an opportunity to talk to mom about, first, how things work in this country. Really different from your country. And the other thing was the fact that, if she doesn't understand the law, if she doesn't understand what would get her in trouble, there's no way for me to help her, because she's not acting consciously, right? So I saw that as an opportunity to teach her not only new ways how to deal with, the behavior, but more about, this is where we are right now, a whole different country. This is how it works here. How can I help you to not do that in a way that you feel like it's enough? Because I understand, coming from the Dominican Republic, I understand that for her, me talking about behaviors and behavior charts, that is not enough. She would go with it because she wants help, but she goes to bed thinking, how am I going to do this? Because she's not helping me.
Right.
Because you got to understand the whole cultural part of it, like you said.
Yes.
I don't agree or disagree with the belt. It's not my job to agree or disagree. My job is to teach her the information she obviously didn't have.
Right.
Because the minute she did that in front of somebody else, another worker, school, doctor, anybody like that, which I am also supposed to call. But to me, the help wasn't about, DCF wasn't going to do anything with that. She needed to learn.
It's all a Band-Aid, right?
Exactly.
A Band-Aid for helping families and parents and mothers who are stressed out, parents that are just stressed out in general.
Yeah.
And stressed out parents, broken parents, right? Just generational curses that end up traumatizing and hurting the next generation, and then it just keeps on moving. And what I heard when you told me the story in your vision for your clinic, what I envisioned and saw was like, okay, she's ready to break this generational curse.
Yeah.
Not with medication, not with DCF, not with Band-Aids, but with an actual solution to helping educating and helping them think differently from generations prior. And I think that for me, that's what I saw. And I was like, holy crap, that's a big vision and an amazing vision. And it's needed right now. more than ever, because you see it in the culture. You see right now, like, society is very much sensitive on every little thing. But then all they want to do is they want to put greater laws on it. They want to put this, and this, and that on top of the families and structures to try to take away your agency, which doesn't solve the problem, because you take people's agency away and forget about it. They rebel even more, as you can see in the world that's happening right now.
Exactly.
You don't take people's agency. What you do is you teach them, and then you allow them to make the decisions after that. After that, that's up to them.
What you have already done your part.
But creating greater laws and more law enforcement and doing all this stuff, it doesn't solve the problem. It just adds to it. And I think your vision for your clinic is incredible, because you are going to be a change maker, specifically, especially for our Latino community, Hispanic community. Obviously, you're going to be serving all nationalities. I know that, right? But I know your big thing was like, I really want to help our culture so that we can be able to live in this country and thrive in this country, right? So that's what we come here for. Why our parents came here for was to thrive where they couldn't in their country, right? But how do we help them do that? And I love that. So share, the name of your clinic. I know you have your clinic. Do you have any information for those people that might be watching live or the recording, who might be interested in services? What services do you provide? Where can they find the information, and so on?
So before we go there, I want to comment on something you said. We as humanity, we're missing the point, and the point is that we need healing. People think we need a car. People think we need a bigger house. People think we need to move to a more beautiful country, to for this person to win the election, for this other person to move to another state. We don't need any of that. We need to heal from the inside out. Because those things that we're paying attention to are trauma responses. Because we don't want to deal with the healing, we put the flashlight towards something else or somebody else. To me, that's why people are so sensitive. They want to feel bad. They are looking for opportunities to feel bad, because when they do, then they don't have to deal with what they really have to deal with.
Yes, gosh, yeah, like whoop, that was mic drop. You're so right. That's it. People want a scapegoat. They want to scapegoat their problems and their traumas and everything that they
exactly. As long as I'm the victim, then I have permission to do whatever I want. That's not true. You gotta stop. You are not a victim. You gotta take responsibility for your life. Stop saying, oh, because you wouldn't understand because you have a husband. I'm a single mom. Okay. I am sorry to break it down. Everybody has situations. Being a single mom or not doesn't really change us anything. You still got to do what you got to do. Being the victim and having people feel bad for you isn't going to help you. It's not moving you forward. Feeling the feeling is the only thing that will move you forward. Crying the cry. Saying that's it. I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. What are you going to do? I don't know. But this I won't do anymore. That's the only way that you move forward. So when people tell you, oh, well, yeah, you should drink this medication instead. I don't have anything against medication, but the medication cannot be taken without the work. You got to find out why you need that medication in the first place.
Yeah.
Why do you have a need to cry every day? Maybe that's it. Maybe that's That's all you gotta do for a whole month.
Mm.
And then come back and see what changed.
Mm.
What do you need now that you have cried for a whole month? And that's part of what you were saying earlier, the conversation we were having about, parents telling kids, stop crying, stop crying. Well, how am I supposed to release the emotion if I can't cry?
Yes.
So we are being trained from since we're born to not be effective humans in this world.
Yes.
We're being trained to not be successful
Mm.
in this world
Yeah.
because we are not given opportunities to say what we think, to cry, to not want to say hi to Uncle Joe, whatever. We're not given opportunities to make decisions. And then all of a sudden, at 14 or 16, your parents want you to make decisions and make them right. And you're like, but I never had to make them. Like,
Right.
what are you asking of me? I don't know what that means. Oh, you're 18. You're supposed to make decisions. Okay.
Haven't
But in
been trained.
18 years,
Yep. Haven't been trained.
you didn't let me.
Yep. Yep.
And those are the little things, but those are little things and they're huge things because they are the things that make the difference.
Right. Right.
Because when you are given opportunities, when you can tell your parents, listen, I don't want to go to school because every time I go to school, I get nervous and I feel like I want to throw up
Mm.
and I can't stay still and I got to go to the bathroom 20 times. And so I don't understand anything the teacher says because I'm in the bathroom,
Mm.
all day long. The go-to answer would be, you're making it up.
Mm.
It's because you're lazy.
Mm.
It's because you don't want to go to school. And don't get me wrong, I know some kids that would do that,
Right.
right? But there's other kids who are really anxious and they're suffering.
Mm.
So if they can't come to you for that, who are they gonna go to?
Right. Right.
It doesn't mean that you have to tell them yes to everything they want. You don't have to do that, but you do have to listen.
Right.
You do have to ask questions.
Mm-hmm.
You do have to want to understand where they're coming from. And you do have the responsibility to figure it out.
So tell me, how do you envision yourself helping with that process?
So I think that the number one thing would be just to call things for their names.
Mm.
Call it for what it is. Stop with the whole, sugarcoating, basically,
Yes.
which is what we usually do because we don't want people to get offended. We don't want people. There's so many ways that people get offended. I can't do it anymore.
Right.
I am not censoring myself in my personal life, but most importantly, in my professional life, not anymore.
Yeah.
Because that's not helpful.
Right. Right.
If
So
I'm telling you want me to tell you, I'm not helping you.
mm. Yeah.
I'm doing a disservice. So what do you need me for?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think that the main thing with Jakira and I in our private practice is that we understand the cultural part of it because we come from it.
Mm-hmm.
We also have done our personal work, which it's hard work, to be able to then relate to people in a different way.
Right.
I really believe that. I think that when healing is like a lifelong process, I think. But once you start that process, there's no going back. You can't unsee what you have already seen.
Mm-hmm.
And when you come across as having seen, to someone is a whole different conversation because they know you know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
They feel understood in another level. And so it's easier not only to form that trust and having that connection with the clients, but it's also faster work because we are not going around the bushes.
Mm-hmm.
We are, okay, this is what we got to do. You got it. Are you ready?
You get straight to the problem
Yeah.
and the solution for that. Yeah. Yeah. So
So
where can people go to find resources from you guys to help um, mental health, family support, family services? I'm sure you're going to be doing family therapy as well.
yes.
So where can people go? And I'll put it in the comments here.
So we are on the finishing touches for our website. It's going to be www.totalmetamorphosiscounseling.com.
Metamorphosis
Yes,
is what that total metamorphosis
counseling.com.
counseling.com. Okay.
Yes. And we are providing individual therapy, couples therapy, family therapy, and really soon we are going to be starting group therapy.
Okay. That's awesome. So
Yeah. In the meantime, though, while we are done with the website, you can find Jakira and I on Psychology Today
okay.
on their list of therapists.
Psychology therapy
Psychology Today.
today.com,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
Okay. So they can find you by name, right?
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here today and sharing your story and hopefully inspiring other women who have big visions, who think differently, who but are scared to take action on that thinking and dreams and vision for their lives. I think you're just like a perfect example of what it looks like, the time frame. You know, it's different for everybody. How long it takes between the idea to making it happen, but you've created a template, like you said. You're paving the way for other people to say, "Oh, she did it. I can totally do it." And hopefully, whoever's watching the replay, you guys can know there's resources and there's people out there that have done it, to reach out to them. Like, reach out to Aury and be like, "How did you do it? Any suggestions? Where do I start?" Because this is the point of us, like, putting ourselves out there so that others can be like, "Oh, there is a way. I just need to connect with the people that have done it already." And like we said already, it's like, don't do it alone. There's just so many people that have done what we want to do already. Maybe not in the exact format or exact profession or specialty, but there's somebody out there that has done something similar. And so go ask questions and find out how to do it. And I think the reason why we have these visions and ideas, and I call them daydreaming sometimes too, why we have these daydreams is they're there for a reason, because you're a solution to a lot of problems that people are facing. And we change the world, not as a collective, but like in our own little world, we change our own little world. But we can only do that by taking action. Like, if we keep that daydream there and we just keep going to work and just doing the same thing over and over again and hoping maybe one day it'll happen, it won't. You have to get uncomfortable, do the hard stuff.
Yes.
Show up and do the internal work. Like Aury said, like, you got to be willing to do the work yourself. Take ownership for your healing, for your work. And I think a lot of times too, like, and I'm sure you feel like this, Aury, too, like, we're given these desires and these deposits, and I call them deposits. I love using that word, like heavenly deposits, because a lot of times it's for us.
Yes.
And not for anyone else. It's for us. And guess what? That the more people receive deposits and take action and work on themselves, can you imagine how the world would be? if we all took ownership and just took action and said, you know what, I need to start working on myself.
Yeah.
What an incredible world we would have, because we're taking ownership. We're not scapegoating. We're not pointing fingers anymore. We're taking ownership for our lives. And then the ripple effect from that goes from there after that.
Totally. And I think that this is the time to do that.
Yes.
We are, we have the perfect opportunity to do just that. Mm-hmm. And absolutely. So our kids won't have to worry about the same things that we worry about.
Yes. Yes. This is the generation. We are a part of the generation of like, there's going to be just impact. And what's happening in the world is just a perfect excuse to do all that.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you think if the world is crumbling, perfect timing. Yay. The world is crumbling around us.
We're here to rebuild it.
Right. Yes. Sometimes like we've seen it over in history. Like sometimes things have to fall apart before it can be rebuilt. So right now it's time to rebuild. And I think, we're trying to be pioneers in rebuilding. And so that's the way I look at it is just like our forefathers were pioneers in their own way, we're our own pioneers. Yep. So I appreciate you again, Aury, for sharing your story, for being bold enough to do it differently, and showing others how to do it, and just being unapologetically yourself and uncensoring yourself finally. So
finally,
the world can be gifted by your wonderful words and thoughts and ideas that are totally different from what everyone else is thinking.
And that's okay.
Yes. Well, we'll finish up, guys. I know we kind of went over time, but it was such a good conversation. I wanted to be able to give Aury the time to just share. Well, thank you guys so much. And again, if you guys wanted to reach out for more information, make sure to reach out to me, and I can fast forward the information, or just reach out to Aury. You can reach her in Instagram as well. Living as Latinas, right? Is your podcast?
Yes.
On Instagram. And so incredible resources there as well. So any last things that you want to share, Aury, before we jump off?
Thank you so much for having me. And just everybody, if it's scary, that is what you need to know. If it's scary, go ahead, do it.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. And I'll keep you guys posted for our next interview. And hopefully continue to inspire you mamas to take action and do the hard stuff. All right, guys. See ya.
Thank you.